Hi everyone, this is Ofer. Today I'm going to talk about the data certification capabilities in ServiceNow. So the use case for data certification is when you deal with regulated environments such as banking or governmental institutions where they need to certify certain fields on a record. Now, it can be any kind of records, either CMDB type of record or non-CMDB tables. There is a related capability which is called data attestation. This is a simpler use case where you just need to say that the CI record exists or available. So attestation, available, certification is focused on the actual fields. You have to certify that the fields values are correct. Now, the reason I like this capability so much is not only you are able to certify that the field's values are correct, but also you are able to change the field values. So let's see it in action. We're going to go to the CMDB workspace. And then we're going to select the Management tab and then the Data Manager. Again, the Data Manager is available for both CMDB and non-CMDB tables. So we're going to select Policies. And currently we don't have any policies that are related to certifications, so we're going to create a new policy. So what I'm trying to do here is to certify that certain field on the asset record, on the Windows Server asset records, are available, and we're going to certify the assigned to and the location field. So I'm just going to name it in a descriptive name, and I'm going to select the certification type. Then I'm going to continue with the process with this guided setup. Now I'm going to set up a policy filter. So again, I'm focusing on the asset table, which is not a CMDB table. So I'm just going to go to the ALM hardware table. And I'm going to look specifically to the configuration item that is associated with this asset. And the type of configuration item that I'm looking for is specifically Windows Server. So I'm going to dot walk through the object to the configuration items, and then I'm going to select the Windows Server. And then part of the filter would be all the Windows servers that are having an operational status of operational. So to summarize things up, I want to make sure that I certify fields on all the asset records that are associated with Windows servers with operational status as operational. So once we apply the filter, we see that we have 188 such assets. And the next step is to assign a task to a specific user or user group. In this case, I'm going to select user group, and I'm going to select the certification asset group. Now, this certification asset group has to have a group member with the role of data manager user. So here I'm showing you that I'm indeed a member of the data certification group, and I have the data manager user role. This point is actually quite important because initially when I tried it, the group that I was planning to use did not have a member with this role, and I was not able to select it from the drop-down here. So next, we'll go to the options step, which is selecting the display fields. These fields are not the fields that we're gonna certify, but instead they are the fields to identify the record that we're gonna certify. So in this case, I'm selecting the configuration item and the display name. Now, these certification fields are the fields that we're going to certify. So in this case, I'm selecting the assigned to field and also the location field. So I want to make sure that the values in these fields are correct, and if they're correct, I'm going to certify them. I'm going to also put some instructions for the task and press continue. Here I'm going to set up the schedule. In this case, it's going to be a daily schedule that is going to happen at midnight every day. And then it created a task, and we're going to publish the policy. So now we can see that we have one published policies, certification policy, and no other draft policy on deactivated policies. So in order to execute this policy immediately, we can go to the schedule jobs. The schedule job title has the same title as our policy. So we're just looking for one that contained certification or cert, and we can see the schedule job right there. So this scheduled job essentially will execute the policy that we've just created. But before executing the policy, I just want to go back real quick to show you that our published policies, just click on the published policy, and we can see that there are no execution. So let's go ahead and execute the job. And then we're going to go back to the policy and refresh the page, and we'll be able to see the execution of the policy. I'm going to go ahead and click on the execution and click on the policy tasks tab. And we can see that the task has been created. So I'm going to click on the task. And then this is the task. So we can go ahead and review the certification activities that we need to do. So now we can see here that we have the display name and the configuration item, which is identifying the records and also the assigned to and location that we'll need to certify. So let's review the one of the records, which is the first record, and we're going to certify that the assigned to and the locations are correct. So we're going to go ahead and certify the record. So right now we have 188 records. Once we certified it, we now have 187 records and one review is complete. So let's try another one. So we're going to go ahead and select one of the fields and fail it in this case. So when we fail it, we can see that the certification has failed. We can take the same item and approve the other field, in which case it will move to a completed review, and with one of the fields failed and one of the fields approved. So let's take another record and do the same. Just fail one of the fields and approve one of the location, certify one of the location. And then we can see that 3 of the reviews have been completed. Now let's look at them. So we can see that one of them we certified both fields, and the other 2 we rejected one of them and certified the other. So the greatest feature here is that we're able to actually populate some of the fields before we decide to certify it. So in this case, the fields are empty. So we can go ahead and edit the fields. We've selected 2 records, but we edit the fields and we select the assigned to fields and the location, in which case it will populate the fields for both records, in which case we can approve them, or it doesn't make sense, but we can also, of course, reject them. So now we've approved both fields, and we can see that we both populated the records and approved them. I want to go to the hardware asset table and just check out the fields that we've just populated so you can see them in the bottom or everywhere. So I just showed you a summary of the activities that are part of the certification task. You can obviously also reassign the task to somebody else or even cancel the task if you wish to. Let's click on the view policy. I want to point out to a couple of bugs that I found that hopefully will be fixed in the near future. So if you go to the data filter, you would see that there is an error that doesn't affect anything. So this error can be just X'd out and it doesn't have any impact. If you want to click the filter, you can go ahead and click on it. Another odd behavior is that the display fields and the certification fields are not showing up for some reason. Hopefully this will be fixed in the near future again. Let's go ahead and deactivate the policy. If you want to edit the policy, you first need to deactivate it. So if you go back to the data manager and you look at the policies, you would see that one of the policy was deactivated, and in which case you can go ahead and edit the policy if you wish to. So here we're going to edit the policy, and you can again go from the start of the guided setup. Just want to show you how to create a policy, and if you start creating the policy, it will be saved as a draft. So let's just go through the first step. Once you click continue to the policy filter, it will save it as a draft. So if you go back to the data manager and click on the policies, you would see that one of the policies is in a draft state. And one of them is a deactivated state in which you can edit them. This concludes the demonstration of data certification in ServiceNow. Hope you enjoyed it.